Vertical Media proudly presents B-Tard, the Internet anthology series from the visionary storytellers at Vertical Media.
Thread 1. Longcat is longer than forever. The cat first showed up in a field of dead stars. Lara almost missed it. She sat alone in the control room, in that washed-out hour after midnight when the generators hummed and the building felt like a hollow shell on the ridge. A bank of monitors lit her face. Coffee cooled at her elbow in a stained mug. The telescope at Cerro Paloma piped raw data through fiber and satellites to this room in New Mexico, where she made too little money to pay her loans and too much noise to keep her contract. On screen 3, the new exposure came in line by line. The software stitched the strips into a false-color deep field, galaxies like small smears, quasars as pinpricks. She leaned in and scrubbed a finger over the trackpad, tracing a structure near the center. A lensed arc, two colliding clusters. Then her brain caught up to what her eyes saw. A white line ran across the lower third of the image. Not crisp, faint, soft at the edges. Wrong for a cosmic ray or hot pixel line. Too smooth for a glitch. It bent in two places, like joints. She zoomed in. The line thickened. Its texture changed. Not uniform. Lighter patches, darker patches, a blur that hinted at fur. At one end, something round like a head, with two pointed shapes that could have been ears. At the other, the line trailed off the edge of the frame. She sat back. "Come on," she said to no one. She reset the contrast, altered the stretch, dropped it into grayscale, then into a raw luminance map. The structure stayed, a stretched form, pale against a wash of distant galaxies. She opened the log. This set came from the Outer Cluster Survey, stacked from 6 exposures, taken 12 hours apart. The line appeared in all of them. Satellites sometimes streaked through. They left straight scratches across a frame, solid and consistent. This thing bent. It turned at two joints, like an animal's spine. She pulled up the previous night's data. The same sky, minus rotation. On that frame, the white streak lay higher, the head a little closer to the center. Still stretched, still wrong. She pulled up the set from 3 nights ago. Different field, near the other edge of the cluster. Near the bottom, a pale stripe, thinner. 2 faint bumps that could be legs. No head, not yet. It looked hand-drawn. It looked slap-in, like a joke. Her eyes burned from staring. Her back hurt from the plastic chair. She rolled her shoulders and listened to the low fans in the rack behind her, a steady rush of air. The digital clock on the wall read 1:37 a.m. "Lara?" Jordan's voice came from the doorway. She clicked windows closed without thinking, instinct of a grad student who'd had too many committee members lean over her shoulder. Then she remembered she was staff now, and the only one in the room with a key card at this hour. She turned. Jordan leaned inside, badge clipped to his hoodie pocket, dark hair tied back in a knot. He held his own mug, a chipped one with a cartoon rocket. "You're still on Cluster 8? He asked. "Yeah," she said. "The pipeline puked on Set 4. I had to restart a batch." He stepped closer, eyes on the screens. "What's that?" he said, pointing at screen 2. She'd missed one window in her hurry. The deep field still sat there, with the pale line slashed across it. "A compression artifact," she said. He squinted. "Looks like Longcat." She frowned. "Like what?" He gave her a look. "You've never seen Longcat?" She turned the chair back to the monitor. Zoomed out. The white line shrank. It still read like a stretched shape. Some trick of the brain that saw limbs and body when none existed. "Where'd the telescope get a cat?" she said. Jordan laughed once. Internet. Gets everywhere. She searched his face. He seemed serious. Pull up your browser, he said. I'll show you. I'm working, she said. Yeah, you're staring at a cosmic meme. It'll take 30 seconds. He leaned past her, one warm forearm brushing her shoulder, and tapped the desktop. The observatory IT guys had locked half the machine down. No social media, no video. But the browser sat there, allowed for ARSX, RTX, A-journals. Jordan typed with two hands. LONGCAT meme, he said under his breath. The results popped up. Images filled the screen. The same image, over and over. A person held a white cat upright. The animal's body hung from the person's hands in an impossible stretch, like someone had dragged the middle out. Its head sat on top, with round eyes that stared at the camera. Its front legs stuck out. Its back legs dangled. The background changed, but the cat stayed the same, elongated, again and again in edits, dragged longer with each retouch. Under some images, the text Longcat is Luum Ran Ran in block letters. Lara stared. The muscle at the base of her neck twitched. Old school stuff, Jordan said. From back when photos took 10 minutes to load. My cousin had this as a desktop wallpaper in high school. He maze it in my sky, she said. Maybe God shitposts, Jordan said. She looked from the monitor with the meme to the one with the deep field. On both, a stretched white form. Her scalp prickled. Run the bias frames again, she said. Could be some new crap in the readout. Jordan shrugged. Sure, you want help? No, she said. Go home. You still live here. He snorted. You say that like you don't. He stepped back, sipped his coffee, and left. The door clicked shut. Lara closed the browser. She pulled up the raw FITS file. She stripped every correction, every bit of post-processing. She dug down to the counts on the CCD. The white shape sat there in the noise. She saved the data to her own folder, named it LCAT_test, so it would slide past the audit scripts, which looked for names like personal or temp. She worked until the lines on the screen blurred. Around 4 she stood, her legs stiff. She walked to the vending machine, fed a couple wrinkled bills in, and watched a protein bar rattle down. The hallway felt narrow. The carpet held the faint smell of spilled coffee and ground-in dirt. The building had a half-finished wing that still smelled like drywall dust and paint. Outside the glass doors, the night sat over the desert, flat and still. A red beacon on the radio tower blinked on and off. Behind everything, under the hum of the lights, she felt something else. A sense of something stretched across a distance, shifting a little each time she looked away. She shook her head. Sleep, she thought. It's just sleep. She went back in and pulled up the next set of images. The cat moved a little farther each night. The first time she lost 3 hours, she had a phone in her hand. She took the bus home as the sun came up. A slow ride past scrub and low buildings. The windows rattled in the frame. A kid near the front watched videos on full volume, noise bleeding through cheap speakers. She scrolled through her feed without really reading. Some account had posted a thread on old internet weirdness. Back before algorithms, the text said over grainy screenshots. Someone had stitched a video of 2000 S-memes. Facepalm, dramatic chipmunk, a cat with a slice of bread on its head. The Longcat image repeated as the uploader dragged it taller along the screen. She stopped the clip with her thumb. The cat froze mid-stretch. Her coffee sloshed in its paper cup. Her head felt stuffed. She stared at the screen and thought of the white shape in the sky survey. A notification pinged at the top, a direct message from Jordan. You see the tides this morning? She frowned and typed with one thumb. No, why? He replied, Noah feet, tide spikes along whole east coast, like small tsunamis but backwards. She blinked. Their observatory contracts did some work for NOAA's space weather pipeline. She wasn't on the tight side of it, though. She scrolled up, meaning to click the link he'd sent. Longcat's white body filled her screen. Someone had posted a "How long can he go" meme. The image loaded in segments as they scrolled. The person had stitched frame after frame a vertical strip that kept going and going. She flicked up with her thumb. The cat extended. Its body ran down the screen. Each new chunk of fur popped in from the bottom, sliding into place. She scrolled. She scrolled again. The bus rocked. Someone laughed near the front. A woman's voice said, "Ma'am? Ma'am?" Lara jerked. Her phone sat dark in her hand. The battery icon showed a red sliver. The bus had stopped. The driver stood up, one hand on the pole, looking back at her. "End of the line," the woman said. Lara looked around. The bus sat at the transit yard, empty. Sunlight filled the aisle. She stood too fast, her legs unsteady, and gripped the seat back. "How long?" she started. The driver checked her watch. "We got here at 8:50, she said. "You didn't move." It was almost noon. Lara clutched the phone, her thumb pressed white against the case. Her last clear memory was of the Longcat image, the scrolling. Her coffee sat on the floor by her shoe, tipped on its side, cold liquid soaked into the rubber mat. "You okay?" the driver asked. "I fell asleep," Lara said. She got off the bus and walked under the hard sun toward her apartment. Heat bounced off the pavement. The air smelled like tar and exhaust. In her head, 3 hours sat like a blank wall. She didn't mention the lost time to anyone, not at first. She slept through midday, knocked out in clothes that still smelled like the control room. She woke to her phone buzzing. 3 missed calls from a restricted number, 1 voicemail, and a new message from Jordan. "Are you watching Slack?" She opened the work app. The internal channel glowed with messages. Screenshots from NOAA tidal monitors, jagged curves where smooth sinusoids should run. People speculated about storm surges, rogue waves, some undersea quake. Her boss, Reyes, posted a short note, "Meeting at 20:00 UTC in Conference A. Be there." She rubbed her eyes. It was a little past 5 local, 2 hours to the meeting. She showered, wolfed 2 slices of toast and a hard banana, and headed back. In Conference A, someone had wheeled in an old cart with a projector. A printed notice on the door said no phones, no laptops. Inside, staff shuffled in. A few had coffee, some clutched notebooks. Tiowa Reyes stood at the front. Her hair somehow always stayed neat, her shirt tucked in, every movement efficient. "Phones in the basket," Reyes said as people entered. "All of them. You get them back after." "That's some new security thing," someone muttered. "Just do it," Reyes said. Lara dropped her phone in with the rest. The basket went to a side table and stayed there. The projector hummed to life. On the screen, NOAA graphs filled the view. Lines that measured sea level along different coasts, each with a date and latitude. The curves bucked. Spikes showed where no tide should exist. In some places the line jumped up and dropped down within minutes. Elsewhere, it held an offset, like someone had leaned on the ocean. "This started 2 nights ago," Reyes said. "We saw noise in some LiDAR data. Shrugged it off. Last night it got worse. Around 1:40 local. The Atlantic tide gauges did that." She pointed with a laser. "The sun and moon didn't move," she said. "We checked ephemerides. Wind data doesn't show anything strong enough." On the back wall, someone coughed. "We're on a call with NOAA and USGS in an hour," she said. "Until then, we keep it internal." A hand went up near the door. Alan from the Gravity Group, a tall man with hair that went every direction. "Instrument glitch," he said. "We ran checks," Reyes said. "Multiple sites, independent systems, off by the same factor, same time, then back to normal. GPS baselines picked it up too." Lara shifted in her chair. "What about time?" she said. Reyes looked at her. Time? Lara cleared her throat. Any reports of anomalies in timing? Clocks out of sync? A murmur went through the room. People looked at one another with half-formed frowns. My wife's Fitbit lost 10 minutes yesterday, someone said. She blamed the app. My stove clock jumped this morning, another muttered. I thought my kid reset it. Reyes held up a hand. If you've seen a time discrepancy larger than your usual system drift, I want it in an email. Don't assume it's your kid or your app. Don't assume anything. The hum of the projector filled a gap. We have one job, Reyes said. We watch the sky and we measure what moves. If something is off, we say it. Lara felt a weight in her pocket and remembered her phone sat in the basket. She thought about the bus ride, the blank hours, the Longcat image on the screen, and the way she'd scrolled and scrolled. A small pulse went under her ribs. Reyes clicked to the next slide, a plot of gravitational sensor data. The line sagged and lifted. Local G had dipped, briefly, then returned. We think this is linked, Reyes said, but we don't know how. After the meeting, people grabbed their phones and filed out, heads down, as they checked messages. Lara lingered near the side, holding her device without unlocking it. You had something in mind with that question, Reyes said at her elbow. Lara kept her face steady. Just a guess, she said. A guess from what? Lara hesitated. She thought of the white shape across the deep field frames. She thought of Jordan's offhand line, looks like Longcat. I saw something odd in last night's cluster images, she said. A structure that persisted. Might be noise. Still checking. Show me, Reyes said. Lara led her down the hall to the control room. The overheads flickered when someone ran a microwave in the break room below. The computers hummed. On screen 3, she pulled up the stacked frames from the last week. She stepped through them one by one. The pale stripe moved across the field, exposure by exposure. Random artifact, Reyes said. Random would scatter, Lara said. This moves, consistent with parallax if it's near, but the angle is wrong. It should shift more. She overlaid coordinate grids, star catalogues. She plotted the path. The white structure slid a small distance across the sky each night, like a long thing at great range. What the hell is it? Reyes said. Jordan called it Longcat, Lara said. Reyes made a face. The meme, she said. You know it. I had a grad student once who pasted that thing into his thesis figure, Reyes said. Jury caught it, he almost failed. I hate that cat. Lara's throat went dry. When was that? 2009, Reyes said. Peak nonsense. They watched the pale line crawl across the universe. Don't put this in any shared folders, Reyes said. Not yet. Run it yourself. No names. See if it shows in other fields. Okay, Lara said. Reyes turned to leave, then paused. You said time, she said. Not tides. Where'd that leap come from? Lara looked at the deep field, at the white form bisecting a galaxy cluster that sat 6 billion light-years away. No leap, she said. Just a hunch. For 3 days, she traced the cat through the sky. It showed up in 8 fields, always the same basic shape. Stretched body, round head, small protrusions for legs. Sometimes it cut in half by the detector edge. Sometimes its head sat outside the frame. The scale changed with the telescope's zoom, but the proportions held. She wrote a script to subtract background noise, to isolate structures that ran longer than any known artifact. The code spit out a mask. The cat jumped into focus. She printed 3 of the frames and taped them to the corkboard over her desk. She stood back and looked. Segment 1. A thin strip, more like a line, with faint bumps. Segment 2. A thicker body. Head more distinct. Ears sharper. Report P. Segment 3. The full figure, running across the field. Another headache built behind her eyes. On her second night of chasing, she went downstairs to get another coffee and found Jordan hunched over his phone on the bench in the lobby. The glow lit the undersides of his eyes. The building's drum of noise came through the vents. "You watched the freak-out," he said. "What freak-out?" she said. He turned his phone, then thought better and drew it back. "Probably not for work," he said, "but it's everywhere." "What is?" "Nostalgia," he said. Someone dug up an old 4chan archive from 2007, whole board dump, /B//C/ the works. People are reposting everything. Longcats trending on like 5 platforms. She tried to imagine the whole internet as a single sheet of paper that someone had thrown in the air. Pages fluttering out of order, old images scattering into new streams. "What does that mean?" she said. "Means people keep one-upping each other," he said. "They're doing how long can Longcat go threads again. Vertical videos, reels, whatever. You know those Clash Royale scam ads where the level number climbs? Like that, but with a cat. Someone coded a site where it just scrolls forever." He smirked. "My cousin sent me a screen cap. Longcat is longer than my will to live, etc." Her skin crawled. "Where'd they get the old archive?" she said. "Some guy on Reddit said he found a stack of DVDs in storage," Jordan said. "Backups from a data center. You know how it is." She knew how it was. Random old garbage pressed onto cheap media and stacked in climate-controlled rooms, forgotten until some junior tech cleaned a shelf. "People shouldn't dig up everything," she said. Jordan laughed. "You sound like my uncle." "I sound tired," she said. He pocketed his phone and stretched his back. "Speaking of tired, you ever drift out and lose an hour?" he said. Her hand stiffened. "What do you mean?" she said. "Other night," he said. "I was in the break room, opened a video. One of those long cat scroll things. Next thing, my toast is cold and my coffee's gone. Check the time. 40 minutes gone. No clue. I just sat there like a bot." He shook his head and grinned, but it didn't reach his eyes. "That's happened twice now," he said. "Think I need sleep." "Stop scrolling," she said. "You first," he said. He went upstairs. She stood alone in the lobby for a long minute, the soda machine humming by the door, the red exit sign casting a rectangle on the floor. She reached for her phone, then stopped. She shoved her hands into her pockets and went back up without looking at her screen. The Longcat origin took shape on her laptop at 2 a.m. She sat at her kitchen table with a single lamp on. The building around her stayed mostly quiet, save for a couple next door yelling about money and the thump of their TV through the wall. A single roach crawled along the baseboard, its shell catching the light. She tried not to look at it. She typed Longcat Original 4chan into a search bar. The modern web sat on top of layers. Meme wiki entries, blog posts, think pieces about early web culture and the Wild West of forums. They all traced Longcat back to a photo of a cat named Shiroi, owned by a Japanese user, mangarized on 2chan, then brought to English boards. People had stretched it for years. None of that mattered. She filtered to image search and looked for the grainiest, lowest res files. She traced their file names back to pages cached on some hobbyist's archive. Many links broke. Some led to static dumps of old boards, with CSS stripped, just lines of greater than anon and replies. She found it on the 3rd page of results. A screenshot, a green on black layout, the heading /B/random at the top, a date stamp, August 9, 7th through 21, 15, and 44 seconds. Ops showed the classic Longcat image. Under it, text. /B/how long can he go? I'll measure. Below, people had replied with crude edits. Each image stacked the stretched cat a little longer. Users joked, spammed, insulted each other. Standard trash. Half the posts sat as image lost, replaced by a file name. Near the bottom of the captured page, OP posted again. Obviously stopping at 13 segments. Below that, a JPG thumbnail, file name Longcat 13, PC, GPG, MDI. Then another post from No further, something's off. The thread cut off there, no scroll bar, no next page, just that. She downloaded the Longcat 13 DG file. Her virus scanner pinged once, then cleared it. The image opened. Longcat again, stretched. Each segment crudely cloned in some early image editor. The resolution grainy, compression blocks in the background. 13 units of torso, counted if she squinted. Below his feet, the background darkened. A band of black stretched under the cat, like a shadow under harsh light. She zoomed in. The black band wasn't uniform. Grain patterns shifted. In the noise, she saw a negative image, a faint suggestion of a shape under the cat, inverted. Another cat. Same outline, same pose, but flipped, as if someone had taken Longcat and turned it into a photo negative, under him. Under the thumbnail on the archive page, someone in the old thread had replied, "If he goes longer, shadow catches up." Her pulse kicked. She right-clicked the image, checked metadata. It showed a creation date in 2007. Software string gibberish, some old editing program she'd never heard of. She sat back and rubbed her face. Abel, to his phone, buzzed on the table. "Jordan again, you up?" She typed, "Yup." He sent a link. "Look at this," above a short URL. She typed, "No more cat videos." "Not a vid," he wrote. "Old thread dump. Longcat OP. Guy claimed he measured 13 segments and saw some shit. PPL say it's creepypasta, but..." She stared at the link. Her own screen showed the same thing. Old post, Longcat 13, GPG, shadow note. As she said, "I'm looking at that now." "Lol, of course you are," he wrote. "Anyway, sleep. We got Noah at 9. He closed the chat. She enlarged the strip of black under Longcat. The inverse cat ghosted there, sharper now. The shape's eyes glowed white in the negative. Hours later, the inverse cat locked into a Tacnol, she thought, with no reason to know the name yet. The word rose from some buried corner of the web she'd seen years back, that old habit of clicking from random thread to random thread in grad school when the noise in her head got too strong. She flipped to a new tab, typed Tagnol Mem 2007. Images loaded. The same cat, but inverted. Black body, white outline. People had captioned it Longcat's evil twin, and the darkness. On an old forum, someone had written, "When Longcat shows up, Tacnol is never far behind." On another, a user, "Tacnol is the shadow that eats light. Don't stretch Longcat past 13 or he'll get you." She clicked an old FAQ. What happens at 13? The answer, "Nobody knows. Thread died." Her head throbbed. Outside, a dog barked at nothing. A car alarm chirped and stopped. She traced the outline of the inverse cat under the image with her trackpad. One slow arc. Her hand shook. The next physical thing that felt wrong was the elevator. 2 mornings later, after a call where Noah argued with their own models and USGS shrugged, she rode up from the ground floor with Reyes and Alan from Gravity. The metal walls hummed. The fluorescent fixture in the ceiling flickered. The car rose. The floor indicator showed 1, then 2, then 3. It hung on 3. The car kept moving. The small square light stayed on 3. The walls pressed in. The air tasted like dust. The faint sense you get of vertical acceleration said they'd moved at least 2 more floors. The doors opened on 4. Lara stepped out with the others. "What the hell?" Alan said, staring at the panel over the door. The 3 lights still burned. Reyes pressed 3. The doors shut. They heard the faint scrunch as the car moved. "It's not a sensor drift thing," Alan said. "That's discrete. That's a count." Lara hit the stairwell door and peered down. The elevator doors on 3 opened and closed with no one there. "Will be some firmware bug," she said. "Could be," Alan said. And 4. A wall clock above the break room door read 10:17. She checked her phone. 10:13. "You seeing this?" she said, holding the phone up. Alan checked his watch. 10:15. "Everybody's got their own time," he said. Reyes stood between them. Her jaw flexed once. "At 13 past, she said. "Every clock in this building lost sync." "And the elevator stuck at 3, Lara said. "Make a note," Reyes said. "Write it down. No one touches any firmware until we log this." She walked off. Lara went to her station. The monitors glowed with fresh data. On the new deep field, Longcat's white body lay almost horizontal, stretched across the top of the frame. Only the head and a few segments showed now. The rest had slipped off. She pulled up the online trending page out of habit, then stopped herself. Instead, she opened a local folder and looked at a saved static screen cap Jordan had given her yesterday before Ray's banned casual browsing on control room machines. It showed a trending hashtag list. Longcat, take null 2007 vibes. Under that, a banner ad for a game that had co-opted Longcat as a loading bar. The cat's body filled as the level progressed. People had screen capped it and made jokes. The loading cat grew longer with each patch. A post under one of the caps. "Anyone else losing time in these threads? Scroll too far and it's suddenly 3 hours later." Lara had seen a dozen comments like that in the last day, people calling it the Longcat coma. Most treated it as a joke. "Lost time to the long boy," one wrote with laughing emojis. "Sacrifice hours to Longcat," another said. She referred none of that to Reyes. There was no way to bring it up without sounding insane. Instead, she printed the 2007 thread. On paper, the green on black turned to grey on white. The text sat as blocky lines. She pinned that up next to her deep field printouts. At the bottom of the old page, a line of text she hadn't noticed before caught her eye. Anonymous, August 9th, 7. 21:44 and 1 second, no million. 430,081. Screen color went weird at 13. Lag spike too. My mouse pointer smeared. Longcat tugged on something. Lol. Under that, one last post from OP. Timestamp 21:44 and 59 seconds. S is 13. Is it? Got a bad feeling. Stopping. Night/B/. No replies. No OP delivered. Nothing. Her printer whirred and spat the second sheet. She thought about 13 in the elevator. She thought about Longcat 13, PGPH. Her brain laid lines between them, whether she wanted that or not. She stared at the line. Longcat tugged on something for a long time. Her mother called that afternoon. The number came up as Momcell, with a small photo of a lake from 2 phones back. Lara stared at the screen and debated. She answered. "Hi," she said. "You sound tired," her mother said. "I am tired," she said. "You should sleep more," her mother said. "Your cousin sent me that thing about people who die from not sleeping." "The internet also says vaccines cause autism," Lara said. "I didn't say I believed it," her mother said. "I just worry." Silence for a second. In the background, the low murmur of the TV and a clank from the sink in her parents' house. "How's the space stuff?" her mother said. "Busy," Lara said. "You see that thing on the news? Tide's going crazy. Your father says it's the moon wobbling." Haha. Her father from somewhere off to the side. "I said it's got to be harmonic resonance." "Right," Lara said. "We're looking at it." Her mother lowered her voice a notch. "I hope this space nonsense isn't going to make you sick," she said. "All that radiation from the screens." Lara looked at the deep field on her monitor. The cat cut across it like a clean wound. "I'm fine, Mum," she said. "You know who's fine," her mother said. "Your Aunt Claire. No computers, no smartphone, just her one of those flip phones. She says, if they want to talk to me, they can call. She reads her books, tends her garden, she sleeps. Lara's hand tightened on the phone. She doesn't even have internet, she said. She has that thing from the cable company, but she never set it up. Said she'd rather stare at a wall than that ugly modem. I told her that's silly, but she's stubborn. No laptop, no tablet, Lara said. No, why? Her mother said. Her brain slid one piece into place. Longcat needs eyes, needs screens, needs connection. Her aunt, the offline holdout, sat in a house in the suburbs with her flip phone and her books and her garden hose. What if someone shows her a photo, Lara said, on their phone? She lives alone, her mother said. The only people who go over are your cousins, and they hardly see her. They say she's too analog. Does she watch TV? Lara said. Game shows, her mother said. Reruns. The news sometimes. Why? No streaming? Lara said. The remote barely leaves Channel 8, her mother said. Lara opened a blank text document and typed, Aunt Claire Towpoint? She said, no reason, I was just thinking. Her mother launched into something about church and her neighbor's new truck. Lara made sounds at the right points, her eyes on the deep field and the pale cat that stretched across it. An idea started in her chest, right behind the sternum. It sat there and grew teeth. Reyes didn't like it when Lara called Longcat a structure. It's not a structure, Reyes said. It's a pattern. You're seeing Jesus in toast. They stood in the dark of the analysis room, the projector throwing the deep field up on the wall. The white body of the cat ran across the wall like someone had smeared chalk. It cut in front of a cluster, dimmed the light behind it. We see it in raw counts, Lara said. It's not a compression artifact. If you subtract it from the frames, the noise matches expected. Keep it in, the noise deviates. That means it's a real signal. A real signal doesn't have ears, Reyes said. Lara crossed her arms. You told me once, she said, that if you saw something weird in the data, you didn't look away, even if it made you sound like a crank. Reyes exhaled. I said document it, she said. Not give it a cartoon name and pin it to the wall. I didn't name it, Lara said. I know, Reyes said. Some basement kid named it. On the screen, the cat's face stared out. Its eyes looked straight ahead. On the edge of its blurred ear, a galaxy cluster bent into an arc. The line of the cluster's light curved around the edge of the cat's head. Look at the lensing, Lara said. Reyes stepped closer until her nose almost touched the projection. She squinted. It bends around the cat, Lara said. Light from behind it curves. That means mass, significant mass at some distance. This isn't a joke somebody spliced into our pipeline. This is a physical object. Nothing that size sits that close without us seeing it in other wavelengths, Reyes said. Radio, microwave, you name it. Unless it wasn't there before, Lara said. Or it's not in space the way we think. Reyes gave her a flat look. Walk that back, she said. Lara swallowed. Gravitational anomalies, time blips, a horizon-scale structure moving across our deep fields, she said. At the same time, the internet drags out an old meme and starts stretching it past a number some guy in 2007 got spooked at. She heard her own words and felt how they sat in the air, thin, ridiculous. And your conclusion is, what? Reyes said. Observation affects reality, Lara said. Not just at the quantum level, at scale. Enough collective attention, focused on a specific pattern, can warp something. Maybe create it. Longcat was a dumb photo. Then millions of people stretched it, shared it, joked about how long it could go. Maybe that did something, built a structure in some space we don't measure, a manifold that now cuts through our fields. You're saying people meaned a cat into the universe, Reyes said. Lara's ears burned. I'm saying the correlation is there, she said, and the old thread about don't go past 13 lines up with our own weirdness at 13 past the hour, at 13 floors. We keep hitting that number. You know what else hits that number? Reyes said. My kid's birthday, Friday the 13th. Superstition. You're cherry picking. I lost 3 hours on a bus, Lara said. Jordan lost 40 minutes in a break room. People online talk about losing time while scrolling. Things stretch. Time stretches with them. Sleep deprivation, Reyes said. Addiction loops. But her mouth was tight. Let me say one more thing, Lara said. In that 2007 thread, the OP said his colors went weird at segment 13. Lag spike. Cursor smear. That's similar to what our own instruments did 2 nights ago. Tide spikes, sensor lag, clock jumps. Reyes rubbed her forehead. You want to tell Noah that the tides went haywire because of an internet cat, she said. I want to prepare for what happens if someone hits segment 14, Lara said. What do you think happens? Ray said. I think that black thing under Longcat isn't just shadow, Lara said. I think tagnol is a real structure too, a negative space. Every time people stretch Longcat, tagnol stretches to match, lagging a little. If you push Longcat too far, the shadow catches up, and when enough mass exists in both, they meet, on us. She realized she'd stepped forward as she spoke. Her hands were open, palms up. She looked like she was begging. Reyes stared at the cat on the wall. I'm going to pretend you didn't say tagnol out loud, she said. I will authorize you to catalog these patterns, map their motion, correlate with known anomalies. Quietly, if this leaks to anyone outside this room, I will deny I ever saw it. Lara nodded. You keep your email boring, Reyes said. You do not, under any circumstance, post about this on any forum. You do not say the word meme in a meeting. Am I clear? Yes, Lara said. Bez clicked the projector off. The wall went blank. Figure out what it is, Reyes said. Preferably before it figures us out. She left. Lara stood in the dark, with the faint ghost of the projection still on her retinas. In that after-image, the cat's shadow stretched under it, thin and dark and patient. The first open Longcat challenge passed, 13 2 days later. She found out when Jordan fired off a message at 3 a.m. with 3 links in a row. They did it what the hell, the last one said. She sat at her console, one headphone in, listening to faint static from the telescope feed. She opened the first link. A streaming platform page showed a vertical video. The comments flew by on the side. At the top, a streamer named @Retoron stood in his kitchen with a green screen behind him. He grinned at the camera. We're at segment 11, chat, he said. You ready? Longcat goes to the moon. He gripped a printed Longcat on a roll of paper. Each segment had a number scribbled next to it. The camera cut in close to the cat's torso, the numbers in frame. Segment 12, he said. Segment 13. People spammed the chat. Don't do it. Go long or go home. Shadow comes lulung. Lines of emotes. Strings of lululung. He unrolled more paper. 14, he said. 15, 16. The camera shook once. The audio cracked. A small glitch in the stream. The image smeared for a second. The white of Longcat blurred into a vertical stripe. The chat window froze. Then text poured in. Lag lag lag. Yo WTF. My Wi-Fi died. Screen just went negative? The streamer laughed, but his eyes flicked off camera. Okay, something's up, he said. You all seeing that? Lara checked the timestamp on the video. It read 213 and 27 seconds. A ping from the gravitational sensor network hit her other monitor. Local G anomaly detected. 2:13 and 29 seconds UTC. Delta G. 0.00012. The plotline dipped. Her skin crawled. She opened the second link Jordan sent, a forum thread. People described small events that happened right when the streamer hit segment 14. My ceiling fan slowed and sped up. Glass in my cabinet rattled. Dog freaked out. I looked at the clock and it jumped from 2:12 to 2:16. The third link led to a shaky cell phone video shot from an East Coast beach. The night sky above low waves. The waterline pulsed once, then surged back and forth, as if tugged. The timestamp read the same. She opened the live feed from their telescope. Long exposures showed the same field as before, but this time, when she stacked them, the white structure took up half the frame. Longcat's body no longer looked fuzzy at the edges. It cut clean across the sky, front half vivid, back half faded. Under it, a band of darkness ran, an absence like pixels ripped out. She ran a lensing analysis. The background galaxies bent in a way she could not map onto any three-dimensional mass. Her stomach flipped. She scribbled on a pad. 2, 13, 13 segments, 14th breach. Every coincidence piled on top of the others until it stopped feeling like coincidence. She drove to her aunt's house that same day. She took the old sedan her father had given her when he upgraded. The car's AC wheezed. The radio only picked up 3 stations. She turned it off and drove in silence, one hand on the wheel, the other drumming on her jeans. The freeway took her past open land and then into the low sprawl of the suburbs where she'd grown up. Chain restaurants, big box stores, cul-de-sacs with names like Juniper Oaks, even though the only trees were scraggly. Her aunt's place sat at the end of a quiet street with cracked asphalt. The lawn had more weeds than grass. A ceramic gnome leaned at an angle near the porch steps. Wind chimes knocked against one another in the hot breeze. She parked at the curb and sat there for a minute. She thought about what she'd say. There was no version that didn't sound insane. She got out and walked up. A knock brought footsteps inside. A deadbolt scraped, the door opened. Aunt Claire stood there in a floral house dress, hair in a loose bun. Lines creased her forehead and cheeks, but her eyes looked clear. "Lara," she said, "you didn't say you were coming." "I know," Lara said. "I was in the area." "That's what your father says when he wants a free lunch," Claire said. "Come in." The air inside was cooler. A small fan whirred on a table. No AC unit bars cut the windows. A TV sat in the corner, screen off. A stack of library books occupied the coffee table. No laptop, no tablet. A flip phone on the kitchen counter, closed. "You look skinny," Claire said. "I'm the same," Lara said. "Sit," Claire said. "I'll get you iced tea." As she moved around the kitchen, opening cabinets, clinking ice in glasses, the house spoke in small sounds. The fridge motor clicked on. Birds called outside. "You're working at that observatory," Claire called from the sink. "Yeah," Lara said. "See anything exciting?" Claire said. Lara looked at the blank TV, its black glass reflecting her. "Yes," she said. Claire came in with 2 glasses and set them down. Condensation ran down the sides. She sat in her chair near the window. "You're thinking about something," Claire said. "I can see it." Lara gripped the cold glass. "What do you know about the internet?" she said. Claire snorted. "That it makes your mother call me to say, 'Did you see that video 5 times a week?'" she said. I tell her, "No, I didn't. I was in my garden, like a person." "You don't use it at all?" Lara said. "Not even email?" "I had that thing once," Claire said, "with the humming box and the password. I thought, this is like cable. I will never watch all these channels. I unplugged it. The TV already gives me headaches." "No smartphone," Lara said. Claire held up her flip. "This is enough," she said. "Calls, messages, done." Lara breathed out. "Do your neighbors come by?" she said. "With their phones?" Claire frowned. "What kind of question is that?" she said. "I just mean—" Lara's throat closed for a second. "Has anyone shown you any pictures on a phone lately? Videos?" Claire thought. Tracy from across the street came last week, she said, with her dog. She showed me some clip of the dog chasing a sprinkler. I laughed. Why? Any cats? Lara said. Claire tilted her head. Eshen, I know you kids put everything on there, she said. But no, if I want a cat, I pick up a book. He gestured at the stag. What's this about? She said. You look like your father did the night his father died. Lara looked at her aunt's hands. Veins stood out under thin skin, a small brown spot near the thumb. Under the skin, arteries carried blood that moved through space, that sat inside something Lara didn't know how to name. I think the internet made something real, she said, and I think it wants everyone. Claire stared. It doesn't make any sense, she said. Lara drank her tea. The cold hit her teeth with a small ache. Have you seen a picture of a very long white cat, she said, held up by its front legs, body stretched down past the person's waist? Claire snorted. I have seen every shape of cat in my life, she said. But not that. Promise me, Lara said. She heard the tremor in her voice. If anyone tries to show you a cat on their phone, you look away. You say no, you don't look at any screens, you don't have to. Claire's eyes narrowed. Is this some kind of stupid online curse? She said. Like your cousin's Bloody Mary thing, but with cats? Lara shook her head. It's not a curse, she said. It's physics, or something twisted around physics. Claire leaned back. Tell me in plain language, she said, and don't laugh if I don't get it. Lara set her glass down. There's a pattern out there, she said, in the deep sky. We see it in our telescopes. It looks like a stretched cat from an old internet joke. At the same time, people online are revisiting that joke. They're pushing it further, stretching it longer, and every time they do, something moves. Tides shift. Gravity dips. Clocks jump. I think the attention, the repetition builds a structure, and that structure is now wrapped around our universe somehow. Claire stared at her for a long time. You think people looking at a picture can change the ocean, she said. Think when enough people look and care and focus, something happens, Lara said. And if everyone who can see it sees it, there's no place outside it. No reference point. The thing closes on us. And you think I can be outside it, Claire said. Lara nodded. You aren't inside the stream, she said. You're unmeasured, unobserved. If you never see Longcat, maybe that gives reality something to hang on to. A 0 point. A 0 what now? Claire said. A spot where the measurement hasn't happened, Lara said. A fixed coordinate. Everything else might shift, but that one node says, this is how it was before. Claire took a slow breath. What happens if I look? She said. I don't know, Lara said. What happens if I do nothing? Claire said. I don't know, Lara said again. But I think if nobody like you exists, the thing closes and we end up somewhere else. Or not at all. Claire looked at her with a gaze that had weighed bad boyfriends and dishonest cousins and her own sister's nonsense for decades. Who else knows? She said. Just my boss, Lara said. And she thinks I'm half crazy. She let me study it, but she won't tell anyone above us until I have more than cat pictures. And you came to me instead of to a priest or a physicist with white hair, Claire said. I came to you because you were stubborn enough to unplug a modem, Lara said. A slow smile tugged at Claire's mouth. Then it faded. You want me to shut myself away, she said. Not watch any news, not look at any phone, not go near any place with a screen. Until when? Until it's over, Lara said. Until we either fix it or we can't. And how will I know which it is? Claire said. I'll come back, Lara said, if I can. Claire looked at the blank TV. My doctor's been telling me I have a heart murmur, she said. He wants to run tests. I keep putting it off. I'm not a kid. Lara's throat tightened. I'm asking a lot, she said. You're asking me to sit in my house and not look at cat videos, Claire said. On paper, that sounds easy. He tapped her fingers on the arm of her chair. I am old, she said. Older than you think I am. I like my quiet. I like my garden. But I also like knowing the world hasn't gone insane. The TV does that for me sometimes. The news, the weather, the stupid trivia shows. If you keep it on the old channels, Lara said, they probably won't show this. It's more online than on TV. Claire snorted. Probably, she said. I hear that word from doctors. I don't trust it. She looked back at Lara. Something in her face had set, a line that meant the decision had been made, even if she hadn't said it yet. When your parents split, she said, you slept on my couch for 3 weeks. You had that book about black holes, remember? Lara nodded. You walked into walls because you had your nose in it, Claire said. You told me how mass bends space, how light curves. You made it sound like a thing with weight, not magic, real. I was an annoying kid, Lara said. You were my kid for those 3 weeks, Claire said. So if you come to me now and say the world is bending around a stupid cat and that my job is to sit here and be heavy somehow, I will take that seriously. Because you took black holes seriously when you were 10. Tears pricked behind Lara's eyes. She blinked them back. You shouldn't have to do this, she said. Nobody should have to do anything, Claire said. But we do it anyway. She reached out and patted Lara's hand once. No more visitors, she said. No phones, no computers. I'll unplug the TV for good measure. If the sky falls because some idiot drew a Longcat, I will stand here in my yard and watch the real clouds. Lara let out a sound, short and harsh. You'll be alone, she said. I've been alone, Claire said. This will just be more of it. Lara stood. I'll bring you books, she said. Real ones, on paper. Claire smiled. Bring me that one about black holes, she said. I never finished it. The color of the sky changed a week later. Not all at once, not like a movie where things invert with a snap. It started with sunsets. A photographer on the West Coast posted a picture of the evening horizon. The sky looked washed in a color that didn't match any he'd seen. The gradients between red and blue shifted. People commented, said their own sunsets looked off. A little more cyan here, a little less magenta there. Lara watched from the observatory courtyard as the sun dropped behind low hills. The sky shifted in bands. Her brain told her it was orange. Something in the rods and cones said no. That's wrong. Her phone buzzed. An alert from a physics listserv. Frequency drift in solar spectrum. Attached. A preprint from a group in Hawaii. They'd measured the sun's light with old spectrometers and found the absorption lines shifted by a fraction of a percent. Not redshift. Not Doppler. Instrument calibration error, the abstract said. Under investigation. Down the hall, a professor cursed in Spanish when her optical bench refused to line up. The lasers didn't hit the right spots on the target. A student swore the mirror angles matched. The beam bent wrong anyway. In Lara's own data, Longcat's body thickened. The white band across the deep fields grew smoother, more defined. Under it, Tacnol's negative band darkened. Time reports multiplied online. People lost minutes, hours. Always while scrolling, always when the view stuttered for a second on some overextended Longcat image or its related junk. Jordan stopped joking about it. He came into the control room one night looking pale. 45 minutes, he said. She swiveled. What? She said. I was in my car, he said. Outside my building, scrolling. There was this thread. They'd found some old Longcat ASCII art and made it into a text scroller. I watched it trip down my screen. Next thing, there's a knock on my window. My neighbor says, "You been out here an hour, man? You okay?" I look at the clock. 45 minutes gone. She looked at his hands. They shook. Any weird dreams? She said. He stared at her. I was in this corridor, he said. White walls, no doors. Something moved in the walls, like fur pressed against plastic. I heard purring, then I woke up. She didn't tell him about her own dream the night before. Sitting in front of a wall-size monitor, deep fields running past. The cat's body grew and grew until it filled the room. A darker shape slid under the floor, matching it. In the day, she tracked coordinates. She mapped the cat's apparent path. It traced a slow spiral around the observable universe, as if wrapped around it. The distance estimates, based on lensing, put Longcat at a scale that made no sense. If it were a normal object, its length dwarfed galaxy clusters. Its mass should have crushed space-time into a hole, yet stars behind it still existed. Space curved, but the world went on. For now, she sent Reyes a weekly memo, dry and technical, with plots and error bars. She did not call anything a cat. She called it the little structure. Reyes replied with single-line notes. Continue tracking. Correlate with CMB anomalies. Run simulation of mass distribution with non-Euclidean embedding. In the break room, someone slapped a printed Longcat on the fridge with a magnet. Lara tore it down without a word. The person who'd put it up never claimed it. Claire turned off her TV. Lara drove out every 3 days with a grocery bag and a stack of books. Each time, Claire met her on the porch with a wary glance, as if Lara might hold a phone up and trick her. "How was the offline life?" Lara asked on the second visit. Claire shrugged. "The quiet is louder," she said, "but the birds keep me busy. They don't need Wi-Fi." On the third visit, she'd pulled the cable box out and set it by the curb, with a handwritten note. "Free to good home." "Man from the company came by," Claire said. "Asked why I cancelled. I told him I didn't like the colors." Lara looked at her. "The colors," she said. Eld stood right here, Claire said. Held his tablet at me. Said, "Look at this package, more channels, more definition." The screen looked wrong, too sharp, like the edges of everything had little teeth. I told him no. "He tried to show you a demo," Lara said. "He frightened thus wave it," Claire said. "I looked at his face instead." "Thank you," Lara said. Claire waved a hand. "You brought me that book," she said. "About warped space. I'm getting to the part with the diagrams. If I can get through that, I can keep my eyes off a salesman's toy." Lara glanced at the living room. The TV sat dark. Its reflection held only the room, no stray cats. The router she'd once seen on the shelf by the phone jack was gone. "Where's the modem?" she said. "In the hall closet," Claire said. "Unplugged. I put a towel over it. I don't want its little light winking at me." Lara laughed once. "You're taking this more seriously than some of my colleagues," she said. "Then we don't owe you 3 weeks on a couch," Claire said. On the fourth visit, Claire looked tired. Dark rings under her eyes, breath a little short when she walked. "You okay?" Lara said. "Doctor wants to see me," Claire said. "I told him I'd call. Haven't." "You should," Lara said. Claire eyed her. "You're going to come with me and stand between me and every waiting room TV," she said. Lara opened her mouth, closed it. "I can't promise that," she said. "Then the murmur can murmur another week," Claire said. "You look worse than me. Sit down. Tell me about your cat." Lara sat and talked, in simple words about warped light and bent time. Claire listened, hands folded over each other, fingers linked. At the end, Claire said, "I used to hate that your job was something I could not picture. At least now I can picture a cat." The inversion came in one heavy night. Lara woke on the floor of the control room with a taste of copper in her mouth and alarms in her ears. She'd been at her station at 1 o'clock. The sky outside the slit had been clear. The telescope had tracked its target. She watched Longcat's body move in the new field, the white shape crisp, the shadow under it dark as a cut. At 1:12, the gravitational monitor pinged. A small dip, like a toe in a pool. At 1:13, every monitor in the room glitched. The images smeared, colors inverted. For one stretched second, the deep field went black with white stars and the cat's body glowed dark. Tacknell's band flipped to white fire. Her ears popped as if pressure had changed. The clock on the wall juddered, the second hand skipped. Her phone on the desk buzzed non-stop. Shelves rattled. A mug slid and fell and shattered. She stood, gripping the edge of the console. On one monitor, a social feed she'd forgotten to close flickered. A Longcat challenge ran live. The segment counter on the side had hit 100. People spammed numbers well beyond. The streamer shouted, "We're going all the way, baby!" The chat froze. The segment counter turned to 13, then gibbered symbols, then blank. Sound dropped out. Silence hit the room. No hum of servers, no fan noise, nothing. And a low rumble started. Not through the floor. Through her bones. She heard a long purr. The deep field filled with white. Not blank. Fur. Close up. Longcat's body in zoom, each strand visible, an endless surface of hair running under the view. Under it, if she squinted past the saturation, she saw black. Tagnol's form, pressed against the other from below, matching it head to tail. The sense of scale broke. She had no idea how big any of it was. It could have been inches from her face, or bigger than all the clusters stacked. She smelled ozone. Her tongue tingled. The clock read 1:13. The second hand clicked. Everything went black. She came to on the floor, cheek against cool tile, alarms wailing, the room light strobed. People shouted in the hallway. A hand shook her shoulder. "Lara!" Jordan yelled. "You with me?" She blinked. The world came back in sharp cuts. Jordan above her, the monitors, red warning boxes on every screen. "What happened?" she said. Her voice sounded far. "Some grid surge," he said. "Power bounced. Then, I don't know. Half the instruments went out of range. Reyes is on with an AOA. Get up." She pushed herself onto her knees. The room tilted. Her stomach rolled. The deep field window on screen 3 showed static. No stars, no cat, just noise. Longcat, she thought, like a name spoken in a church. Her phone had slid under the console. She grabbed it. No service, the top bar said. The time read 1:13. She checked a wall clock. 1:13. The second hand didn't move. Her chest tightened. "No," she said. She fumbled into the corridor. In the stairwell, people clustered, checking devices, swearing. "My watch stopped," someone said. "GPS is dead," another said. "Whole constellation's out." Reyes stood halfway down, phone to her ear. She lowered it and looked at Lara. "Your L structure?" she said. "Anything on it?" "Gone," Lara said. "Or beyond." Reyes's jaw clenched. "We have partial reports," she said. Tides jumped. Some clocks rolled back, some forward. A plane over the Atlantic lost track of 10 minutes. Pilot says the stars blinked. In the distance, faint siren wailed. City-wide. Lara thought of Claire in her dark living room with no TV, no modem, sitting in a chair with a book in her lap. Heart murmur in her chest. "If everyone saw it," Lara said. "If it closed." "Not everyone," Reyes said. Lara met her eyes. "How sure are you about your aunt?" Reyes said quietly. "She unplugged everything," Lara said. "She doesn't look at screens. She won't let salesmen wave phones at her. She reads." Reyes nodded once. "Then she might be it," she said. "Your 0 point." "How do we use that?" Lara said. Reyes looked at the frozen clock over the stairwell. "We find a way to measure from there," she said. "To reset coordinates off her instead of off whatever just wrapped us." "How?" Lara said. Rey's answer came as a small, grim smile. "You're the one who likes cats," she said. "Figure it out." The world did not end that night. The news, when it came back, called it a global electromagnetic event. Anchors stood in front of graphics that showed solar flares and the Earth's magnetic field. Experts with neat hair explained how charged particles could induce currents in power grids, how GPS signals could drop. None of them mentioned the way colors had looked wrong for a minute. None of them talked about the moment of full silence or the purr. Online, people called it the long glitch. Hashtags trended, filled with jokes and half-serious fear. Longcat took a bite of the universe, someone wrote. Lag IRL. In the weeks that followed, nothing big fell down. Planes landed, tides went back to their charts, clocks got reset, but nothing sat quite right. Digital images tinted a little off. Skin tones on screens looked better when you turned the saturation down. Printed colors on some old photos no longer matched the world around them. Calendars shifted, not in dates, but in names. On her phone, Lara's November events now sat under a heading that read Octember. People treated it as some jokey UI update they vaguely remembered approving. At the observatory, old logs from 10 years back now had different timestamps. A meeting that had happened on a Tuesday now read as Thursday. Reyes' kid's birthday in her shared calendar moved up a week. Reyes swore it had always been that day. Her ex-husband agreed. Only Lara's notes in an old paper planner said otherwise. Longcat no longer appeared in any of their new deep fields. The sky looked normal. The background matched models. On paper. In her head, Lara could still feel a stretched presence, just beyond the edge of what they measured. A thing wrapped around their bubble that had shifted everything a tick to the left. She drove to Claire's house. The ceramic gnome still leaned near the steps. The wind chimes knocked. The grass had grown higher, drier. She knocked. No answer. The door stood unlocked, a bad sign in this part of town, though neighbors still looked out for one another. She stepped in. The air smelled like dust and something metallic. "Claire?" she called. No reply. In the living room, the TV sat where it had. No new cable box, no blinking routers. A pile of books rested on the coffee table, one open, spine up. The black hole book lay on the arm of the chair, face down as if someone had just set it there. "Claire?" she said again. A sound came from the back of the house. A soft thump. A small meow. She followed it down the hall. In the bedroom, Claire sat on the bed, back propped against pillows, legs covered by a blanket. Her skin looked pale. Her chest rose and fell in shallow takes. Her eyes were half-lidded. On the quilt, at her side, a cat lay. It was a normal cat. Medium-sized, short-tailed, white with some grey at the ears. It purred. A steady rumble under the breath. Claire's hand rested on its back, fingers curled in fur. She looked up as Lara stepped in. "You missed the excitement," she said. Her voice rasped. Lara's lungs unclenched a fraction. "What happened?" she said. "The world shivered," Claire said. "Felt like when the washing machine hits a bad cycle. I sat here, hand on my chest, thinking, so, this is it. Then it passed." "You didn't see anything," Lara said. "No screens," Claire said. "No phones, just that lamp." She pointed to a bedside lamp with an old bulb. "The colors looked strange for a minute," she said. "Like somebody put a film over my eyes, then they went back. Except not quite. The walls look, I don't know, wrong white." The cat kneaded the quilt with its paws, back arching. "Where'd you get the cat?" Lara said. Claire smiled weakly. "Showed up on the porch 2 days ago," she said. "Scrawny thing, no collar. I opened the door, he walked in like he owned the place. I figured if the world ends, I may as well have company." Lara moved closer. The cat rolled onto its side, exposing its belly. Claire's fingers sank into the fur. "He likes it when you scratch right here," Claire said, rubbing a spot under the front leg. Lara watched the cat's tail. It flipped back and forth. A shaft of light from the window cut across the floor and the bed. The cat's body cast a shadow on the blanket. A normal outline, head, shoulders, long tail. The shadow spilled over the edge of the bed. Lara's gaze followed it down. On the floor, in the strip of light, the shadow kept going. It ran across the rug, under the dresser, along the wall, thin and unwavering, as if the cat's body stretched far past where it stopped. Past the wall, past the hallway, out under the house, out across the yard, down the street. In her mind, it didn't end. Leah's hand moved. Slow strokes along fur. "You look like you got your legs taken out from under you," she said. Lara stared at the line of darkness on the floor. The cat purred. Claire smiled and scratched its back. Outside, the wind pushed the chimes into each other again.
Thank you for listening to Beatard, our audiobook anthology podcast. If you're enjoying the adventure and wish to support us further, please consider joining our Patreon community at patreon.com/vertical. That's patreon.com/verticle. This episode of Beatard is a production of Vertical Media, LLC. All rights reserved. Produced and edited by our talented team. The fabulous theme music was created exclusively for Beatard and is used with permission.
Big shout out to our amazing Patreon supporters. Seriously, you're the reason this show gets to exist in the way we want it to. Your backing helps cover production, keeps the lights on, and lets us make the episodes bigger, weirder, and better. Extra love to this episode's legend, Adam Binnebury. Thank you for your support.
Vertical Media /B was never good.